far. I would argue that they've been the most consistent this weekend.
What? That is incredible. That is an actually incredible statistic. So they're on 225 points right now. So yeah, they haven't had their, second places and first places. They've had one win so far. They have their 9-11 win. They've got so many consistent placements. 6th, 10th, 9th, 5th, 13th being their worst, 1st and 7th. That is really consistent. And that is going to be very, very scary for teams like Commandment, and Edgy that have had their games where they're a little bit higher, but they've had their 18th places as well. So far, no matter where zone's gone, DJ and Age's Skittles have had a game plan. And when you're thinking about 5 more games to go, that's looking interesting.
No, definitely. And again, that means that they've already pulled the victory royale. So they've shown us, hey, listen, they can take these wins here. That was the end of yesterday, but right now for Coop, Adams, and Genesis, they've rotated themselves into another battle right now. They're being held out this time around. That means someone is on their heels quickly too. Let's see who it's going to end up being as Coop gets knocked there. Big exchanges. Those tack attacks were good. It's actually Spegu and crew here who come right up from the top. Goku and Charlie, they are connecting with everything that they need, and the Stinkerfish here just flushing out Adams and KAT Genesis here. There's nowhere you can hide. It's literally going to force them out. No builds for Adams. He's all but out in the open here to take the gun exchange, and it's not going to be any good here as they get the quick cleanup there. That's 6 points. A nice 6-point swing. Remember, still for these teams here, finishing higher and higher on the standings does unlock you a little bit more prizing here at the end of the day.
It is, and it's also bragging rights as well. Cooper players specifically who really made him name for himself in solos. He won DreamHack solos and FNCS solos back to back, which is impressive in any game mode, but in solos, that really caught a lot of people's attention, but struggled in the team game mode since then. I know how much it means to him to try to make a name for himself as a team game mode player, but right now, I don't really think it's too much against Coop, Adams, and KAT Genesis. It's just a drop situation. They got a lot of teams around them. Even when they take the fight and win it, there's another team on their heels ready to clean up. It's an unfortunate situation to be in, but they could maybe find a way around it. We've seen some teams this weekend do really well from these dire situations, but I feel for the team as well. But this South Zone is going to change things up a lot. Not only does it favor some of the teams like Commandment, Centered, Edgy, if they get their Storm Surge, this is where all the brutal zones are. This is where, as Sundown always says, Old Man Mountain will take his toll. If we get a big mountain zone, which I don't think, maybe correct me, Monster, we haven't really seen that so far this weekend. We've seen some water zones, we've seen some elevation zones, but we haven't seen a true mountain zone. And that's when everything just hits the fan and it's really just reactive Fortnite. You can prepare for it, you can practice for it, but it is another kind of evil when you get stuck on the bottom and it goes up.
Yeah, we haven't seen any crazy zones like that. For Straw Hat, Charlie, Goku, and Spegu, they're in 15th place right now as well. So they're by no means out of this competition. The top 5 is very much in striking distance. And with the 6 eliminations, or the 3 eliminations here in the 6-point swing, that's really good for them right now as far as where they sit here in the tournament. So good start for them so far. They pull zone now that they have their tags. This is the question, though. How are Commandment going to respond to this zone? They've already done what we knew that they would have to do. Move quick, move early, try to strike fast on teams rotating. But Aussie, we knew there wouldn't be many teams rotating, and that's why they're sitting here now, out in the open with these mega wide stands. But so is Felix, Post, and Sparebow on the other side of the mountain. So both teams thinking the same exact strategy here.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit scared here, Monster. This is
me too.
We'll have to see. This is not the position you want to see them in. Yes, they look healthy material wise, but you can see from the loadout, Edgy didn't even spend the time to farm up the mechanical parts to upgrade his makeshift shotgun. He just knew he needed to get somewhere and get some surge. This team right now might not look at you at home if you don't get involved in competitive Fortnite a lot. They are desperate. This is what desperation looks like right now, but they've done it before. They could do it here, but this is probably the worst situation we've seen them in. And a lot of teams know that these mountains and these hills is where everyone sets up. They're going to try and wide rotate around it if they can. They're going to use vehicles, as you saw then, which is very hard to get tags on. And we have 93 players alive. NA East is proving to be by far the most stacked region across the board this weekend, and that's going to make Surge that much more difficult. They have the meds. They can maybe out-heal it for a little bit, but this first threshold is no way to out-heal it. And this is what we're talking about, desperation. They've just said, okay, guys, no one's here. No one's rotating past. Center's made the call. We got to find something. Let's look somewhere else. We haven't got to see this team really take that straight 3v3 fight like we've seen from Miro and Reverse. Edgy and Commandment take it. They have a good chance of winning it, but it's that uncertainty that we haven't seen. We get that beautiful map shot. Thank you, Ops team. As you can see, there is next to no one out here. That was a great call to leave. There is actually no one on this edge. They're on that northeast section. They are those three little orangey kind of colored tags you're seeing there. There's some teams in Lazy Lake, but all the teams are on the northwest sections. They need to make it somewhere else, and this zone is going even further south. So if they can manage to get their tags now, they'll be okay. But once this breaks down into a mountain endgame, they're not looking great.
Yeah, no, not at all, but this vehicle will bring in attention. So now it's going to come down to the marksmanship of Edgy and Scented, or Edgy and Commandment here, who are both equally deadly with the rifles here, and they're going for those out in the open exchanges here with any team that they physically. So this might look like a big risky play, but it's actually could work in their favor. But there's a fight nearby. Yes, exactly. This is really, really good for them if they can poise up and look inwards to find some tags here. For Tragic Scoped and Cisto, seems like they're getting active as well. They're still on top of DeQuentin's crew down low. This is over by the Flush Factory. This is where this fight has been breaking out round after round. This time around, though, at least they're on the successful side. They're on the winning side of the battle.
They're on the winning side of the battle, and there could be, we got a cheeky little teaser that we kind of figured out this morning, Monster, which it looks like, I believe Cease's team is poised for. They are, and they've already done it. There is actually some challenges down here right now that a few teams have managed to do the research to figure out. If you go down to the that little island at the bottom there and you're wearing a Lara Croft skin, you get gifted a free Rift to go and a legendary assault rifle, and that's what Cease's team has done. And with the end game finishing over near there, other teams can now utilize that for their own Rift as well. So this could be a very, very exciting end game, but it's going to be about which team has done their homework. Cease's team clearly has. We saw today on EU the Queasy's team also did their homework. Other teams haven't been as quick on the draw though, so I'm excited to see how that kind of affects this end game, because it's something that me as a professional analyst and caster, I didn't find out about until yesterday.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We always tease about how these pro players have plays up their sleeves, how there's always something that you pull out, that trump card that you save for these days. And honestly, they never cease to amaze us. I mean, we saw it last season with the Big Chill, or, you know, just several seasons ago.
Yep.
We are constantly seeing different strategies, whether it's how to get max gold really quickly or how to upgrade all of your loot really, really fast. It all always comes down to who has done that preparation. And for Cease and Company, it seems like they're the team on NA that has been ahead.
For as well, always trying to find the strategies. Like I said, that team has been putting in so many hours with the coaches, with the VODs, improving. Scoped just jumping up massively back to his, you know, previous form of just incredible mechanical prowess. Scoped has never been a bad player by any means, but he's a player that at one point was, I would say, unarguably one of the best fraggers in the world, and he's jumping back up to that rise to prominence, and it's through preparation. I hope they can do something big here on day two, because day one was a little bit cold, sadly. Similarly for our elite trio here as well, Zlem, Crunchy, and I believe Elite Naruto will be Narwhal. They managed to have a really, really good qualifying week, and I want to see what they can do here today. But where did Centered Edgy Commandment go? Have they found their surge? Are they okay here? I mean, even Reverse 2K Day and Miro, nice shot from Zlem, are going to have to rotate their way in as well, and there they are. Reverse 2K Day and Miro right next to Aegis, Degen, and Skittles. That is second and third place, pulled up on top of each other at the home base of first place. But for some reason, Centered's team's not here. They clearly had a different strategy for their surge, and I'm guessing they rotated far in that vehicle. And again, to me, Monster, that screams desperation. I don't think they have it, or at least they didn't when we last saw them.
When we last saw them, they were rotating right through, and it seems like they do not want to be on this outer edge. They're comfortable with getting more deeper inside the zone here to play for these high ground style tags, right, for rotating team tags. And again, that comes with its own pros and cons. For Lupian and crew, they're just trying to get to the other side right now to take a fight, but Reverse is going to fall there. That's a knock coming out of Voyou and his team, and Voyou is going to get the finish. And now Day is also down. We might just be watching the story change here. Another pivotal knock right there, and Miro's left once again by himself. And mind you, not a single placement point has been given out just yet, guys. There are still 31 trios alive here. They have already slipped out of second place into third, and now they're pinched between the team that has overcome them, which is Degen, Aegis, and Skittles, except in the middle is Miro.
And you are just seeing Fortnite at its purest form, a 12-game format where not only did these players to adapt and impose strategies, so do the teams around them. Miro Day and Reverse came in with a flawless strategy that worked for the first 4 games yesterday, until the teams around them started to clue on to what they were doing and they started avoiding them. Now look at what is causing them. They have had pretty much, I would say, if they go down here, 3 of their worst 4 games are their last 3 of 4. So they've only had 1 good game in the last 4. They are starting to slip off the pace, and they need to be adaptive. They need to figure out something else. They need to change the strategy. I believe Miro Day and Reverse can do it, but whatever they're doing right now, it isn't working, as Miro is yet again, for the 3rd time this weekend, having a solo clutch with Storm Surge at his back.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? We talked about how teams can adapt and change their strategy. For Miro Day and Reverse 2K, their strategy was literally beeline the teams that are nearby, smash them out of the lobby, and then continue to earn your points and make those end games. For those teams, if they adjusted their strats and they're avoiding their warpath now, maybe that's why we're seeing them have such a tough time. It's not because they're playing any worse, it's because other teams are just a little bit quicker, right? And fixing up their mistakes. And now all of a sudden, this 2-day format is coming back to really punish them here. But let's see it though. For Skittles, Agers, and DGen here, who are already on the rotate right now, it seems like they're doing A-okay for themselves. The threshold is going to go on and pause there for a second. So now they're going to be safe, but look at how much material invested it's going to take for them to get to new zone. On the minimap, I still see Miro up alive, so he's going to be able to recycle all of this hard material that Skittles, Agers, and DGen are putting out there, which means that, hey, at least he can get 1 step closer to earning some placement points here, because he's not too far from striking it.
They need to get as much as they can. We heard it just before. DGen, Agers, Skittles have been so consistent, getting at least 20 or more points. Put it on our big brain analysts as well. I want Vivid Adam, if they can maybe, not for next game if it's too short notice, but for one of the games, I want to see how these guys get their Storm Surge, because it does not matter where zone goes, it does not matter what happens around them. This team is uncontested Orchard and triple houses. That is a wide split at the very edge of the map, and they are still pulling out some of the most consistent games we have ever seen. So they are clearly doing something very, very right, and I would love to highlight that, as they are yet again in another end game in a great position where other teams who've done well are now lacking that consistency a little bit. Censored Edgy Commandment, where are they have their Storm Surge? Because right now it's looking like it's a battle between 1st and 2nd, and 3rd is just clutching to hold on to the back of the car as it's running away, and Miro is now on fire. He only has wood builds as well, so he needs to get away, and no, the fire is following, and I have to imagine this is it. This is going to spell disaster for Miro. He is going to fall down. 1st and 2nd are on a ride to the finish, and Miro's team is just clutching on at the back.
Oh, and all because he was in wood builds, but that's what happens when you start to run out of loot. And now our 3rd place team, guys, is down and out. For Commandment, Edgy, and Scented, though, what kind of position have they managed to find themselves in? Did they get all the surge they need? Maybe. They're still up alive, but they haven't gotten any elims. But that was very much reminiscent of yesterday's start. They were off to a very slow start. They allowed the elims to come to them. They never forced the engagements or the situations. Instead, constantly prioritizing positioning. For this trio, it's all about positioning. Play smart, play the long game here. Now, though, they have focus onto Agers, DGen, and Skittles down there. Little do they know, that is their biggest competition right there. I bet all out pressure here. They would not stop firing at that trio, but of course they just have to play it by the wing, right? Play it like it's any other trio. Stay alive here.
And also, it's going to be an interesting one as well. If we see DGen, Agers, Skittles potentially poised to play that high ground, they've been playing consistent, they've been doing the mid ground. We haven't got a chance to see whether Commandment, Censored, and Edgy can overthrow DGen, Agers, Skittles on the high ground. They managed to do it yesterday against Stretch, Saf, and Avery, which have been arguably the high ground kings this weekend. So we haven't got to see them go toe to toe. And way, I don't know. DGen, Agers, Skittle going to have to get a bit of zone luck here potentially, but with the way Censored, Edgy, and Commandment are playing with the position they're in, I have to imagine they're going to be making it to this low ground endgame. But is it even going to matter, or is it going to pull off one of these big mountains and then everything goes out the window and it is just pure adaptability? Who can... Because the preparation's there. Me and Most have been talking about it, though. Not as much practicing in NA East recently. Those big bad zones are the ones that pretty much just come down to just sheer mechanics and just how can you react, because there's only so much you can do to prepare for them.
Yes, for sure. And take a look at the wide shot here. Acorn, Jack, and Slack still up in this game as well. This is one of those next runner-ups. Let's not forget, you're looking at your current FNCS champions who are currently now below the Storm Surge threshold. So 11 players have to go down. That means the pressure is now bigger than ever for this team here. That's a huge shot right there, though. The headshot from the infantry rifle might just be the saving grace here. So we could have just watched Acorn potentially clutch up the situation for his team. As this quick stat here says, since Chapter 2 Season 2, Acorn and Jack have the best average placement of any team going into their 7th zone together. They are a team that are known for being a prominent and dominant duo. And, you know, it's because they can stay alive here.
That's the thing, though. They're going to need more damage than that. That was a big infantry rifle tag, but they are 42 below, and this is not 7th zone. This is 5th. And Acorn right now, again, we've been talking about desperation with the Storm Surge. The nerves kick in, and when your aim needs to be as precise as possible, as Centered said, sometimes you can't help but be a little bit shaky because everything's on the line. I need to hit this tag or my whole team goes down. How many other esports and titles is that the situation? Storm Surge, it just creates just tumultuous situations. You need to get the damage when everything is on the line and everything's against you. As Center Command and Edgy have everything against them. I don't know what's happened here, but they are looking far weaker than when we've last tuned into them.
Do they have the meds?
Do they have a way back into this?
Center's down.
Center goes down. It's just Commandment. We are potentially going to be going into this endgame with 1st and 3rd out of this, with Degen, Ages, and Skittles poised to try to jump up and have that big game. I mean, I don't know. We have no AR ammo on Commandment here, Monster. Commandment is an absolute beast, but how much can you do with this loadout with everything against you?
Yeah, and he still has to stay alive for 2 more teams to go down here in order to earn the next series of placement points here. Not a single elimination, guys. That means they haven't earned any points other than that first threshold of point earnings. If they go down early, if Commandment does not clutch up like he always finds himself able to do, they are going to be neck and neck with Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day. Virtually unearned points in this this game here, this round of Fortnite, which means Degen, Ages, and Skittles can jump up and jump far ahead. They have been the most consistent team so far. That average 20 points a game is nothing to overlook. But look at this. Poising themselves up, setting themselves up for high ground, and they are looking up and over at C's Tragic and Scope. They're saying, hey, you want to come up here? You're going to have to do more. Slash, Acorn, and Jack. They have surely pulled high ground, and that was a ridiculous shot right there from Stretch onto Scope, puts him down, and all of a sudden now, it's their height.
It's their high ground. It's going to be interesting for Stretch, though. He has no real spray weapon, so he's set up on the backside trying to hold this. He has no assault rifle. He has no SMG to spray it down. He only has the infantry rifle that shoots in single fire. But when you've got aim like Stretch, maybe that's enough. I mean, he's got the bow as well, but this is incredibly big for the storylines here. Sap, Stretch, and Avery, 197. The worst they have done is 2nd place. So this is looking like either a win or a 2nd, but how does the Mountain Zone play into their favor? If it goes too far down, do they have to expend a lot of mats going off, or is that going to play in their advantage? With these Mountain Zones, it is really, really interesting. You'd think that high ground has the advantage because everyone else is having to go down, but it means you have to expend a lot of mats tarping out. It leaves you really high and exposed, and if someone contests you, they can easily break you out. But Commandment right now is still going through as a solo. Commandment is still pushing through with this one. Top 13. Every team that goes down, he gets a point, and each elimination is 2, and he goes down. But that could be enough to keep pushing them forward because there's a few teams very much on their heels, and it looks like the FNCS champs are trying to have a big jump up as Jack falls, but Acorn and Slacks are looking healthy.
This is all up to now whether or not they can find a couple more tags because they're getting eaten alive here by the Surge, and these next player does not want to go down. Finally, someone does. Okay, it is a... But this is Sap, Stretch, and Avery's time to now jump up. This is the time for Acorn and Slacks to also jump up. They have to take full advantage of this situation. Ager's down low, though. Clutching by himself, finds 2 inside the storm line. Give this man some more. He's not out of the competition. Not just yet. And there's another solo in front of him. He doesn't even need a follow-up from the AR because the pump is doing the work for him. And there it is. Face Dubs goes down. Big knock here for Agers.
And I mean, he gets the flopper off. He has the minis, but can he get in? He's trying to get some of the loot, but he's got to move forward. He's got to do something. No, the med kit, does he make it? He does. Oh my gosh, Ages, nerves of steel. He stays installed for that extra couple of ticks to get medkit, knowing he'll get in, and if he gets this off, because he gets zoned, this is a big swing back. This is your second place team. First is out, third is out, but fourth is on high ground. They are catching up, but DJ and Ages and Skills are pushing forward to this one. He gets a find on the outside. That's Goku. He doesn't get the materials though. Ages has no material. Pump in hand. What can he do here with his whole team riding on this? DJ and Ages and Skittles have been in this situation before. They almost got a top 5 last FNCS. They need to clutch one up this time. They just fell short, but no, a top 5 placement points have Avery and Straight. Talked about it. What are their mats looking like? They've had to tough out this entire game. Does Thatch, Pants Down, Carry have what they need to overthrow them? Because of them are full trios. So we have a 3v3 v1v1. What are the two solos going to do except falls? What can Carry do though, Monster? I don't know. We've hyped them up. Some of the biggest competitive veterans in the scene with their position of power on high grounds.
Yeah, definitely. And Stretch is still putting down that fire here with the infantry rifle, but the stink bow is the literal. It's so good in this end game here. It is chipping away that HP lead. Every single 5-tick they get, they are one step closer now to winning. Stretch and Avery here. They're here to seal the deal. This time around, they're coming down as a full trio. Saf does not want a repeat performance from yesterday. There's no way they're willing to drop this one. They're going to go the distance right now. They're going to make sure they win this one out smooth, easy. And this stink bow is literally the win factor. There's one pump. Can they get the second? Of course they can. And it's a clean wrap up for them. 3 elims, 1 team wipe, but it's all that they needed to secure the dub.
Yeah, it was only 3 eliminations, but at the same time, we saw the big teams go down early. So, did Commandment Solo Clutch get them enough? Because those points cannot be understated. Got an elimination, and I would have to say at least maybe 7, 8, 9 placement points in there. So, kind of keeping them up. DGen, again, a massive solo run. But Reverse 2K, Day and Mirror, they're falling off the pace. Their last few games have definitely been different to their start yesterday. They've got to try a new strategy, but that scares me for the other teams. Can they keep avoiding them? Because I know Reverse 2K, Day and Mirror are going to leave nothing out there. We're going to throw it to games are going to be so intense.
Thank you guys so much. Crushing it over there on the breakdown. Now, I gotta say, coming into this game, okay, they were 40 points behind. The victory out in itself is worth 10, and they did pick up 3 eliminations, which is only 6 points. They did not pull ahead, boys, but this is that shoop that Sundown likes to talk a lot about. It only takes a single game to suddenly put your trio this game. It might have just done that, Vivid. It might have just done that.
Yeah, Stretch, Saf, and Avery, they're huge victory out, and they're of the leaderboard teams there in that end game to contest for like 2nd or 3rd place. So I would not be surprised if they are in 2nd or 3rd place after that game, because that was a huge one.
Yeah, it really was. I think what's great as well is that we're there behind the scenes as well, and we see them. There's like a great aerial shot of them ascending a tower, going high again, and we're all going, they're doing it again, they're doing it again, because we know how these guys love to play. They love to get as high as they can, and here, and lo and behold, here we have some great opportunities to showcase just how good these guys are. We were saying we should definitely talk about them in more detail, and here we are. It's all ready to rock and roll. They got the victory royale, but Lazy Lake is is where they love to land. They love to kind of get as much loot as possible. It's full of loot there as well. Great for rotations, but these guys they've been around the block for such a long period of time now as well. Obviously, Avery joining the mix this season after Zate's departure, but think about last year they came in, I think it was 8th position in last FNCS. Avery came in 7th. His team with Illist and Creo, so their season, they know exactly what they're doing, and I think what's great about them is they're now using this opportunity as a trio. They've developed, they've worked together, they've worked hard. They know exactly where their skill level, their ability lies, and so as a trio, whether it be high ground or driving their way through a plethora of walls and whatnot as well. These guys are such a great, exciting team to watch.
Yeah, having Stretch on this trio just makes it so much better. I think that Stretch is honestly one of the most mechanical IGL having potential players probably ever that we've ever seen in Fortnite history. He is so good mechanically, he is so good in those clutch moments, and he is the one calling the shots for this trio. He's the brains behind all of these plays, these height calls. He did work just learning from Zate and how Zate maneuvered around those height plays, and now he knows all of that. and he also can play like an absolute madman when it comes to these box fighting situations where he needs to use his mechanics or shotgun aim. Look at this, he's just going sideways and placing everything so perfectly. He is so good at Fortnite, and he has the brains, and this trio, honestly, he is like the backbone of it.
He really is such a great player to watch, and here we have it, and we've got ourselves boys around the top in 4th position. However, DJ and Asian Skittles go into 1st position. We're starting to see it flop here, there, and everywhere now. 254 points, 2 points over Commandment's trio there. It's so tight. 49 eliminations, 1 victory royale, 156 placement points there as well. But you can see here, Commandment's trio got the 164, Sav's trio now the 165. They are the standing leaders there. We saw in the last game only 3 eliminations, but got the victory royale, as Zeke mentioned there as well, at 233. It is getting so tight and vivid. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
Yeah, Sav, Stretch, and Avery are forming a really, really good average placement. It has been incredible how well that they have placed, and they really haven't been like at the top of the leaderboard to show that they have been just as consistent as Commandment, Sense, and Edgy. But with that bad game there from Commandment, Sense, and Edgy, we are starting to see that shine through, because when you look at the stats here, the only thing that really separates these two trios is 10 elims, right? So Scented, Edgy, and Commandment have done a better job of getting those elims, but when it comes down to the placement and the victory royales, those two trios are equal.
They really are. I mean, the 11th, 20th really. Illis, we focused on Illis trio a lot there as well. I mentioned them a second ago. In 15th position now, and 97 placement points and 20 eliminations. We can see actually 33 eliminations. Macwood's trio, we've highlighted them a lot. Obviously, qualifying from last season into this one. Now they're in 12th position, dropped down 1. But those two teams there, 154 with Pam, Stu, Kerry, and Fatches, 11th position too. And you've also got obviously in 13th, Dusky, Spade, and Dom. These guys at 150, they're definitely in contention for breaking into that top 10. Really simply, it all comes down to having 4 left to play, and boys, it's going to get better and better. I can just feel it. I can feel it's getting better and better.
I mean, we just saw what one game can do, right? We have 4 of us. A single performance like that from any of these trios could either pull them way out in front of everybody else, or pull someone from the back that is trying to claw into even just top 10. Suddenly give them a platform, right? A moment to say, look, we can make top 5. We can do this. But I can't get ahead of myself, all right? You know, and try and blow people's minds. Right now, we got to focus in on these games. Fortnite, man. 4 more to go, and we're going to crown FNCS Trios champions at the end of it all. So you know what time it is. We're back aboard the Battle Bus. Aussie Antics Monster Deep Base. Game number 3 time, boys.
Just when you thought it was all safe and sound, all of a sudden Stretch, Sap, and Avery turn that story and flip it on its head. They are now inside of top 3. Arguably one of the most rooted for teams here to take this all home, and it's because of their unique playstyle and their innovation in the space. But man, Aussie, if you told me yesterday coming into today we'd have another team all of a sudden step up here and for Commandment, Sense, and Edgy to give away their lead, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, it's very interesting right now. Commandment, Sense, and Edgy are still playing consistent, but man, DJ and Age of Skittles, that statistic, we cannot overhype that enough. They have got more than 20 points in every single one of 8 games in an NA East Finals. That is ridiculous. It's 30 points for a victory out, 2 points for an elimination. But again, I always liken this. If you're a Fortnite player at home, and I hope most of you are, try to even be that consistent in an arena game, in a cash cup, on any level. Try in Fortnite to reach that level of consistency, and then imagine doing it against the 32 other best teams in one of the biggest regions in the world. That is so ridiculously impressive. And remember, DJ and Aegis, they're not nobodies on this scene, and this full seasons, DJ and us and Aegis especially have been playing together for such a long time. Very similarly to Jack and Acorn, and it looks like Sappho potentially thought was maybe doing one of the challenges then. I think he's just looting, and the butterfly is just kind of leading them the way to some bigger and better loot. But right now, there are big teams jumping up, and a single elimination the difference. But we mentioned it last game, when Commandment, Sense, and Edgy get a south zone, that is actually worse for them. So zones, if they start pulling a little bit further away, if it gives them a chance to rotate out, things will be looking a little bit better, which it looks like this zone is. So I think they can come back from this.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone can still bounce back here. Anyone can still continue to pop off, and you called it perfectly. When the zone went south, we knew all of a sudden, man, kryptonite is the way the zone plays out. Usually a team is stoked to have the zone land on top of them. Not a team like Senta, Command, and Edgy. Their playstyle is just not really built for it. Their strategy always ends up playing for Niddle, Smack, and Casker, though. For whatever it is that